What's up YouTube, my name's Gavler88 and I am back with another controller versus controller video for you all. Today we will be checking out two of the more popular Pro controllers out there. Firstly, the Elite Series 2, Xbox's official Pro controller, and one I'm certain you'll be familiar with. And secondly, the VICTRIX GAMBIT, which touts itself as the world's fastest Xbox controller. Both come packed with features which really make them a nice pickup. But in this video, I aim to compare the strengths and weaknesses of both controllers to help you decide which might suit you best, and ultimately help you make an informed decision before your purchase. To do this, we will stack the controllers against each other in 4 main categories, seeing what I think comes out on top in each area, and giving an overall verdict at the end. Let's get into it. So as mentioned in the intro, we will be comparing these controllers in 4 categories, starting with the price, including what you get with your purchase. Secondly, the design, including aesthetics and key features. Thirdly, customization, touching on how you can make the controller suit you best. And lastly, and arguably most importantly, how they are under use, how they actually feel to play with. So as always, we start with the price, given that it's one of the most obvious points of comparison. The Elite Series 2 comes in at around £120 in the UK, $100 in the US, and around €120 in the EU. The Gambit comes in a bit cheaper, at £80 in the UK, $60 in the US, and €80 in the EU. Now with the price point out of the way, what do you get for your money? Well, starting again with the Elite, you get the controller itself, a thumbstick adjustment tool, a charging dock and USB Type-C charging cable, 2 sets of paddles, additional thumbsticks, and a circular D-pad, and a carry case. Moving on to the VICTRIX GAMBIT, and this also comes with a decent amount of gear. Firstly, the controller itself, of course. A second rubber faceplate, another back button configuration option, an extra set of thumbsticks, a square D-pad, octagonal thumbstick rings, a carry case, and a 3-meter USB Type-C cable. So both these controllers give you good bang for buck, and both come with a number of impressive extras. I'd give a slight edge to the overall package the Elite Series 2 gives you, especially when taking the charging dock into consideration. Although, with that being said, it is the more expensive controller. So making a call either way in this section wouldn't really be fair. These controllers have much more to offer than just bang for buck. They have many features that make them both desirable in their own right. So let's move on to the next area of the comparison, the design and key features. Starting with design and touching on the general aesthetics, and for me, the Elite Series 2 has a clear edge. Despite being a controller from the last generation of controllers, it's definitely the prettier of the controllers. It has a superior finish, with the rubber side grips adding to a premium feeling. While in the Gambit's case, it has this purple colour scheme, which I don't love. The standard white faceplate, in my opinion, feels awful. I particularly don't like the textured side grips. Some of the other finishes also feel a little cheap, like the purple switches used for the trigger stops, and the back paddles also feel a tad flimsy. With that being said, both controls feel right in hand, but I will mention the Elite Series 2 does have a more weighty feel, which could be a problem or a benefit depending on what you prefer. This is down to the fact that the Elite has a built-in battery pack, while the VICTRIX GAMBIT is a wire controller, so obviously it doesn't have a battery pack or housing. With the general design covered, let's get on to the exciting stuff and talk about the features that really set these controllers apart. Straight off the bat, I will say that these controllers do have a number of similar features. Most notably, they both have 4 programmable back buttons, as well as both having trigger stops, although they have gone about it in different ways. In regards to the back buttons, the Elite Series 2 uses detachable paddles, which you can set up to whichever configuration you prefer, while the VICTRIX GAMBIT opts to use 2 detachable back panels, one set up for 2 buttons and other set for 4. For me personally, I've always preferred to use just 2 back buttons. It fits my playstyle, and I've always found 4 buttons a bit confusing to use. This is especially evident on the Gambit. I often found myself hitting the wrong buttons when in hectic moments. With that being said, however, I do prefer the way the buttons are implemented on the Gambit compared to the paddles of the Elite. It just feels more tactile and instant to me, and fit the contours of my hand better. They have also gone for a slightly different implementation for the trigger stops, with the Elite using a sunken switch and the Gambit using these purple clutch switches. They do both work well, but I must admit that I hate the way the switches look on the Gambit, again making the Elite look more premium. I will say, however, that while on the hair trigger setting, the VICTRIX GAMBIT has an edge, as it definitely has less travel compared to the Elite, which for sure is a benefit when you're looking for any advantage you can get. Mentioning a couple features that the Elite Series 2 possesses which the VICTRIX GAMBIT doesn't, and I'll start with the built-in battery pack. which allows for wireless gaming and also never needing to look for batteries. The Gambit is a wired controller, so you will always be tethered to your console or PC when you play. The Elite also comes with free programmable profiles, which you can switch on the fly just by hitting the button right here, which is awesome if you play a few different games and you have different button configurations for each. The VICTRIX Gambit also has a couple key features to shout about. Firstly, the share button. Yes, a standard for Xbox controllers these days, but a step up from the Elite nonetheless. It's frustrating reaching for the share button after a cool clip, only to realise that the Elite doesn't have one. Although I do recognise gameplay capture isn't for everybody. The VICTRIX Gambit also allows you to control your chat and gameplay volume mix from the controller itself, simply by using the D-pad, which is a nice addition. Moving on to durability, and I have to mention the elephant in the room, that being reliability concerns. With regards to the Elite Series 2, I've heard many horror stories of stick drift, faulty bumpers, and broken face buttons. Too many to be ignored. I myself, having had the Elite for around 2 years, have only had one problem, stick drift on my left stick. But nothing too major. In the VICTRIX Gambit's case, I'm yet to have any problems. Although I have only had the controller for around 4 months now. So it's had a lot less game time. My main recommendation would be to check the warranty offered before purchasing. Having talked about what these controllers can offer you over a standard controller, it's time to move on to our third area of discussion. How you can make these controllers your own. How you can make them fit your playstyle best? Let's talk about customization. Similarly to the key features area, these controllers both give you many ways to customize your controller, but I've gone about it in slightly different ways. The Elite Series 2 gives you a nice kit to play with. Don't like the thumbsticks? Swap them out. Prefer one tall, one short? Go for it. Think the round D-pad sucks? Sure, change it up. All of this is done super easily also. The attachments are all magnetized in place, so they all just pop on and off quickly and satisfyingly. As mentioned earlier, the Elite has free programmable profiles to switch between, which takes the customization up a notch. All of this is done in the companion app, allowing you to bind back buttons, set dead zones, and all the other good stuff. Perhaps the coolest part of the Elite Series 2's customization is the ability to change the colour of the Xbox button. A super cool addition and something I'd like to see implemented in future controllers. The Gambit also allows you to change up your controller by mixing up thumbstick configurations, swapping out D-pads, and binding face and back buttons by using its software companion. Again, allowing the ability to set trigger and thumbstick dead zones, a welcome addition to any competitive gamer. I will say, however, that with the Gambit you can't change your profile on the fly like the Elite, so you'll have to enter the app anytime you wish to change something. The Gambit also has an ace up its sleeve when it comes to customization. You can swap out the faceplates, which is awesome. They even supply you with this purple rubber faceplate, which is designed to minimise the clicks or clacks heard when the sticks hit against the faceplate. In terms of customization, I feel both controllers have valid reasons to take this section. They have gone about it similarly, but with differences, and each have something special to point to. The changeable Xbox button for the Elite, and the swappable faceplates for the Gambit. But we don't buy controllers just to fiddle with settings, we buy them to play games. So let's get on to our final review section, how they are under use. When buying a controller, you expect to be using them for a prolonged period of time, so it's fair to say that you would like to know how the Elite Series 2 and the VICTRIX Gambit feel to play with. I am happy to say that after a significant period of time with both, that they both feel nice in hand. The Elite is definitely the comfier of the two, possibly down to the rubber side grips, extra weight and being able to play wirelessly. The Gambit, on the other hand, while still feeling right in hand, just doesn't feel as homey. The white faceplate is a sweat magnet and the texture on the sides just isn't good in my opinion. When it comes to actually playing games, things tip more in the Gambit's favour. As I mentioned earlier, the VICTRIX Gambit touts itself as the world's fastest Xbox controller. And as I covered in my full review, which you can check out right here, it really is snappy. It feels more responsive than the Elite, and in conjunction with the back buttons and hair triggers, really make the Gambit a viable controller for the player who wants to play competitively, or looking to perform better online, in shooters for example. This isn't to say that the Elite can't do the same for you. It can and will, but its slower response time and magnetised sticks give the Elite a slightly more sluggish feel. The Elite Series 2 to me is a jack-of-all-trades controller. It's great for any game you'd like to play. The premium feel and comfort is perfect for exploring the streets of New Atlantis, or tailing around Spa in Forza Motorsport. The VICTRIX Gambit, on the other hand, is aiming at shooter players, those looking for the fastest response time or the lowest dead zones. The fact that this is a wired controller and tethers you to a console or PC at all times isn't really a problem when you consider this. If you want the fastest response time, you're not going to be sitting on the couch, you'll be sitting right in front of your monitor, sweating. In closing in this section, I'll again mention that they both feel great and play great, barring any durability problems. The Elite Series 2 is the comfier of the two, however, overall being a competitive gamer myself, the more responsive feel and snappier sticks the VICTRIX Gambit provides makes me lean its way in this area. So with price, design, customization and usability out of the way, who takes it? Let's tally up the scores. For the price including what's in the box, I have this one down as a tie. The Elite does provide you with slightly more, but the more expensive price evens the score. For design, key features and durability, I've given this one to the Elite. They are very similar in many regards here, and both have something to offer the other doesn't. Although the wireless functionality as well as the free programmable profiles tips this toward the Elite for me, even if there is some durability concerns. For customization, I again have this one as a tie, although the Xbox button colour changing ability the Elite possesses is my favourite customization feature. I found it hard to split the controllers as they both offer some nice options, and the fact you can change the faceplate on the Gambit is pretty cool. For usability, I've gone with the VICTRIX Gambit. As someone who looks for any edge I can get, the responsive feel I get from the Gambit has me reaching for this over the Elite. So with the scores tallied up, we have a tie at 2-2. And to be honest, I'm not too surprised at this. The Elite Series 2 and VICTRIX Gambit are both great controllers. Both have similar features, similar customization options, and despite being similar, both have something that sets them apart from each other. On deciding which controller out of the two to buy, I'll close like this. The Elite Series 2 offers you a broad variety of playstyles. You can play in comfort or sweat with the best of them. But in my opinion, it's focused mainly at the gamer who plays many games, someone who enjoys a variety of styles of gameplay. While the VICTRIX Gambit, in my opinion, is for the competitive gamer, the person who is dedicated to one game or one style of game. If pushed, I would recommend the VICTRIX Gambit. As covered in this comparison, it fits my playstyle more adequately, and I really enjoyed the snappy feel and shorter hair triggers. But what do you think? Do you agree with my decision? Remember to let me know about your thoughts in the comments below. If you have enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please drop a like. And for more videos just like this one here, putting the Elite Series 2 up against the Scuffed Instant Pro, please remember to subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. But anyway guys, that's the video. Thanks so much for watching. And until the next time, I'll catch us.